80 to 85 years. That's all we get. Sounds like a long time, right? But let's be real. 26 years spent sleeping, completely unaware. 24 years working, chasing someone else's goals. 10 years mindlessly scrolling through social media or staring at a screen. Minute by minute, our time slips through our fingers, disappearing into nothing. And for what? Are we truly living the life we want? Or are we just wasting it? It's time to wake up. Blue pill, close this video. Keep living as you always have. Red pill, stick around, and I'll share the lessons I've learned in my 45 years, what truly matters and what turned out to be meaningless. Also, in this video, I will reveal the secret of where paradise truly is. Well, looks like you chose the red pill. Let's go. The world you think you know is not what it seems. You wake up, check your phone, go through the motions. Work, eat, scroll, sleep, repeat. Days blur into each other. Weeks vanish. You tell yourself that someday life will feel different, that someday you'll be free. But what if I told you that someday doesn't exist? Time is a mirage. The past is nothing but memories, shadows flickering on the walls of your mind. The future is a dream, built on fear and expectation. And the present? It keeps slipping through your fingers while you chase everything except what is real. This, right now, is the only moment that has ever existed. And yet, how much of your life have you actually lived in it? Look around. People are lost in thought, trapped in their minds, disconnected from what is. But truth is not something you think about. It's something you experience. And that experience only happens in the now. Because the now is where the Creator lives. Not in the past, not in the future, only here. Only in the presence you so often overlook. But you've been taught to wait. To believe that happiness is always just over the next hill. Less work, more money. A perfect home, a perfect body. Then you'll finally enjoy life, right? I used to think so too. I chased that illusion all the way to paradise. I was successful, could afford to live on tropical islands under the endless sun, to stay in luxurious hotels. I had everything I thought I needed to be happy. And yet, very soon, a darkness crept in, a deep depression, because no matter where I went, I was still taking myself with me. Do you see it? The problem was never the external world. It was my mind's endless hunger for more. We are not built for endless comfort. We are built for movement, for creation, for the dance of life itself. Joy is not in the destination. It's in the journey. In the act of living, breathing, working, creating. But how do you find joy in the mundane, in the ordinary? You shift your focus. It's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. Have you ever lost yourself in an activity, so present, so immersed, that time disappeared? Maybe it was working on something you love, running until your mind went silent, or laughing so hard that nothing else existed. That feeling, that's the secret. It's not the task that brings joy, it's your presence within it. Washing dishes, writing an email, walking down the street. Any moment can become sacred if you are there for it. And when you are truly present, the Creator is there too. Because in presence, there is no separation. But staying present is not easy. The mind pulls you away, back into thought, back into illusion. That's why you must train it, again and again, until presence becomes your natural state. How do you start? It's simple. You remind yourself, over and over and over again. Set a focus point, a reminder on your phone, a note on your mirror, a deep breath before every meal, a touchstone to pull you back to now. The more you return, the easier it becomes. And with time, awareness stops being a practice. It becomes your state of being. The Creator is not in the past, not in the future, only here, only now. Are you here with me? You chase, always chasing. A new phone, a better job, a bigger house, the next thrill, the next goal, the next proof that you exist, that you matter. But tell me, when has it ever been enough? Desire is a trickster. It whispers that happiness is just one step away. You reach for it, grasp it for a moment, and then emptiness. The void returns, deeper than before. Why? Because desire creates absence. It turns what you don't have into an open wound. And so you run, thinking the next thing will heal you. But the cycle never ends. The moment you get what you wanted, it begins to dissolve, like sand slipping through your fingers. A new desire emerges, and you start again. Look around. The world is built on this illusion, an endless game of more. But what if you stopped playing? What if you realized that joy was never hiding in the next achievement, but flowing through you right now? You are not a vessel meant to be filled. You are a conduit meant to pass something greater through you. The more you try to hold on, the more life slips away. But when you let go, when you stop grasping, stop expecting, stop demanding, something shifts. You become weightless. The energy moves through you. The Creator moves through you. And that is where the real joy begins. But what about love? Isn't love meant to be something we receive? We've been conditioned to believe that love, too, is something we must acquire, that it is a currency, a trade. I'll love you if you love me back. I'll give, but I expect something in return. That's not love. That's business. True love gives without expectation. It doesn't wait for gratitude, for recognition, for something in exchange. It flows simply because it must. Like the sun shining, like the river moving, like breath itself. And yet, we make the same mistake, again and again. We expect love to complete us, to fill our gaps, to make us whole. But love was never meant to be a crutch. It was meant to be an offering. Think about it. How often do we say, "I love you," when what we really mean is, "I love how you make me feel"? That isn't love. That's consumption. Real love respects freedom. It does not hold, does not bind, does not demand. It is not a cage. It is the open sky. And in that openness, in that surrender, there is something unshakable. A love that doesn't waver when unacknowledged, that doesn't shrink when unnoticed. A love that simply is. And when two people love this way, not from need, but from abundance, something sacred happens. The Creator enters the space between them. Love is no longer about possession, but about presence. A quiet knowing that nothing is missing, that nothing is lacking. A love that is whole, even when standing alone. But most don't see this. They live in the illusion. Women who give everything to their families, expecting love in return, only to feel unseen, unheard. Men who build their lives around achievement, expecting admiration, only to feel empty, all waiting for the world to reflect back their worth. But what if the world is not meant to give you anything? What if everything you seek is already within you? There is an old story. A man tells his friend, "I love fish." And his friend replies, "That's not true. If you loved fish, you wouldn't catch it, kill it, and eat it. You don't love the fish. You love how the fish makes you feel. How often do we do this with people? We say we love them. But what we mean is, I love the comfort you bring me, the attention you give me, the way you make me feel less alone. Real love is different. It does not consume. It does not take. It does not say, you exist to make me happy. It simply is. A force that flows outward, without fear, without conditions. And when you find that love, within yourself, within another, you will see. You will see that you were never empty, that you were never broken, that the chase was never necessary. You were whole all along. Loss. It cuts deep, doesn't it? The silence left behind, the empty spaces where someone once was. We say we mourn for them, but tell me, who do we really grieve for? If the soul is eternal, if life is more than this fleeting moment, then what is it we are crying over? Could it be that our pain is not about them at all, but about us? About the pleasure we have lost, the warmth now gone, the presence we can no longer touch. We do not weep because they are lost. We weep because a part of us is missing. But not everywhere, not in every culture. In some places, death is celebrated, a soul returning home, a journey completed. No sorrow, no resistance, just the quiet knowing that nothing truly ends. Because what if we've had it all wrong? What if pain is not a punishment, but a teacher? What if loss is not an end, but an opening? You've felt it before, haven't you? That moment when grief strips you bare, when you have nothing left to hold on to, except something greater. When I lost someone close to me, the grief consumed me. I sank into an abyss of anguish and hopelessness. And yet, in that depth of sorrow, something else emerged. It felt as if it wasn't happening to me, but rather, I was watching it unfold from the outside. This state led me to a presence beyond words and emotions, into a silence that was complete, not empty. A surrender that did not break me, but made me more whole. That presence has always been there. We search for meaning in others, in relationships, in achievements, in the approval of the world. But everything external is fragile. Everything external fades. The only thing that remains is what has always been within. Some call it God. Some call it Source. Some never give it a name at all. But in its presence, there is no loss, no lack, no need to cling, to beg, to demand that life stay the same. And when you bring that presence into your relationships, everything changes. Love is no longer a transaction, no longer a silent contract of expectations and disappointments. When the Creator stands between two people, there is no fear of loss, no fear of not being enough. There is only the joy of giving, the joy of witnessing, the joy of simply being together. And that joy does not demand perfection. We are all moving towards something greater. And yet, in our imperfection, in our unfinished stories, there is something beautiful, something sacred. The love that does not seek to possess, but to uplift. The love that does not grasp, but embraces the unfolding. So when the time comes, and it will come, when life takes something from you, when it pulls at the strings of your heart, let yourself feel it. Let yourself break if you must. But know this, nothing real is ever truly lost. Not love, not truth, not the connection that binds all things. What is gone has only changed form. And what remains is what was always meant to stay. And in that knowing, you will find peace. Let me tell you a story. There was once a sculptor. He stood before a great block of marble, studying it in silence, Others passed by, seeing nothing but cold, lifeless stone. But the sculptor, he saw something else. He saw the form waiting within, the beauty hidden beneath the surface. He lifted his chisel and struck the marble, again and again, each blow carving away what did not belong, revealing what always had. You are that sculpture. And life is the chisel. From the moment you were born, you carried something no one else could. Your uniqueness, your true purpose, the light only you can bring into the world. But as you grew, the world told you otherwise. It told you to conform, to be like everyone else, to measure yourself against standards that were never meant for you. And so, you began to believe the lie, that you were not enough as you are. But what if I told you that you are exactly as you were meant to be? The Creator does not make mistakes. Every flaw, every strength, every moment of your existence has been woven into a greater design. You are not random. You are not broken. You are a necessary thread in the fabric of reality, yet you doubt it. You look at others, at their successes, their perfect lives, and wonder why you are different, why your path seems harder, why you feel lost when they seem so sure. But tell me, who told you that your path should look like theirs? What if the very things you see as weaknesses are the tools given to you for your purpose? What if the struggles, the pain, the failures were never punishments, but part of your becoming? You ask for a life without hardship, without loss, but a sculptor cannot reveal the masterpiece without striking the stone. But the world tells you otherwise. It tells you that you are not enough, that you must become something different to be worthy, that you must chase an ideal that was never yours to begin with. And so, you doubt yourself. You compare. You wonder if you are broken, if maybe, just maybe, you got it all wrong. But what if the very things you see as flaws are your greatest gifts? What if your path was never meant to look like anyone else's? Close your eyes. Ask yourself, is this true? Listen, not with your mind, but with something deeper. The answer is already there, whispering, waiting for you to hear it. You are not meant to be someone else. You are meant to be fully you. And that means embracing everything, the joy and the sorrow, the triumphs and the trials. Because nothing in your life is random. Every challenge, every loss, every moment of doubt has a purpose, not as punishment, but as refinement. Think of the moments that broke you, the ones that made you question everything, the ones you thought you would never survive. And yet, here you are. I have lost everything before, and I have gained everything back, but not in the way I expected. I chased success, wealth, status. I had it all, but I was empty. And when it was stripped away, I was forced to confront the truth. I had been living in fear. Fear of not having enough. Fear of not being enough. Fear of losing control. And when I let go of it all, life began to unfold in ways I could never have imagined. The right people started appearing. Situations aligned to move me in the right direction. My relationships with family improved, and most importantly, I felt a lightness I hadn't experienced in so long. Nothing is taken without reason. Nothing is removed without purpose. Every loss clears space for something new, if you let it. The world will tell you to fight, to resist, to hold on to what is slipping away. But freedom is in surrender, not as defeat, but as trust. Trust that even the pain is part of the plan, that even in the darkness, the sculptor is at work. Have you ever met someone who has everything, wealth, power, success, and yet they are restless, anxious, always needing more? And have you ever met someone who, despite seeming poor, radiates warmth and peace, walking their path with quiet strength? The difference is not in what they have, it is in what they hold on to. True security is not in money, not in status, not in control. True security lies within yourself, within your state of being and your relationship with the world. And when you know this, when you truly know it, you become untouchable. The storms will come, the waves will rise, but you will stand unmoved because you will understand what so many never do. You were never the marble. You were always the sculpture, waiting to be revealed. You've spent your whole life searching, chasing, hoping that one day everything will make sense, that one day you'll arrive. But what if you're already here? Paradise is not a distant land, not a reward for a life well lived. It is now. It is always now. Close your eyes, breathe, feel the weight of this moment, the air against your skin, the quiet hum of existence itself. This is eternity, not a place, not a promise, just presence. And yet, how much of your life have you truly lived in it? You've been told that heaven is somewhere else, that joy is something to be earned, that peace comes after the struggle. But what if that was the greatest illusion of all? Heaven is not above you. It is not beyond you. It is within you. A shift in perception, a quiet surrender. The moment you stop resisting life and start living it. But resistance is all you've ever known, isn't it? You resist pain. You resist change. You resist the unknown, clinging to the illusion of control. And that resistance, it's exhausting, isn't it? The endless war against what is. The constant battle against the tides of life, against the will of something far greater than you. That's where stress is born, not in circumstances, not in hardship, but in the mind's refusal to accept what is. Let me ask you, has resistance ever brought you peace? Has fear ever brought you closer to happiness? Or has it only ever pulled you deeper into suffering? The truth is simple. The moment you stop fighting life, life stops fighting you. Everything that happens is part of the design. Every loss, every challenge, every heartbreak, it's all unfolding exactly as it must. Even the pain you fear, even the uncertainty you resist. What if, instead of fighting it, you trusted it? What if, instead of seeing obstacles, you saw stepping stones? Because that's what they are. The key isn't control. The key is surrender. Not as defeat, but as devotion. A trust so deep that even in the storm, you know, without a shadow of doubt, that you are being guided, that every event, every moment, every breath is part of something infinitely greater than your mind can comprehend. But surrender isn't passive. It's not about giving up. It's about waking up. It's about seeing clearly, beyond fear, beyond illusion, beyond the stories you've been told. It's about remembering who you are, beyond the noise of the world, a soul, not a machine, a creator, not a consumer, a being of light, not a prisoner of time. And how do you cultivate this trust? By returning, again and again, to silence, to stillness, to the presence that never leaves you. Meditation is not an escape, it is a return home. Prayer is not a request, it is a conversation, a remembering, a realignment with the source from which you came. Use reminders, a note on your mirror, a whisper before sleep, a deep breath before you eat. Simple moments, sacred moments, markers that pull you back into now, where life is actually happening. And then, speak. Not in rehearsed phrases, not in borrowed words. Speak to the Creator as you would a friend, with honesty, with vulnerability, with no need to impress, because there is nothing to prove, nothing to earn. You were loved before you even arrived. So what now? Now, you live, not in waiting, not in hoping, but in being. Look around, see people, really see them. Speak from truth, not habit. Let gratitude replace complaint. Let wonder return to your eyes. Move not for achievement, but for the joy of movement itself. This is the secret, not hidden, not complicated, just overlooked. The life you want? You already have it, but only if you are here to receive it. So, are you? Or are you still chasing ghosts?